All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. If you haven't been to this channel yet, please do me a favor and like, subscribe, and share. We are here with the one and only Pradeep Singh of Arm Wrestling News, my faithful motivator in this YouTube endeavor. Pradeep, thank you so much for joining us and hit us off with the topic for today.
Thank you, brother. Thanks for having me on the channel. And the topic that we are going to discuss today. You have anything specific in mind? I want to discuss the AMC tournament.
Oh, the AMC tournament for sure. I mean, I wanted to catch up on like your training progress, though. I know it's been a couple weeks now before the holidays, and you've delved into like some more consistent training. So I wanted to check in with you and see how you've been doing with that.
So since the time you sent me the program, I've been working on it, and I thought I'm going to lose some weight. But the first time in my life ever, I hit 90 kilos on the scale. So that is what, like 200 pounds, first time ever.
Get out of my class, Pradeep. Listen, the goal in like me helping you in this progress was not to make you competition. Get lose. We can do a diet too if you need it.
No, no, I don't need it. The bigger the better. I do not want to lose weight. Like for me, it is good. Unless I want to do a one arm pull up or something, then I'll look forward to. But looks like I'm getting strong, man. Getting strong.
So what has changed? Have you noticed like anything drastic, like gym lifts, like arm wrestling lifts, anything noticeable yet?
Even like still, I'm not going all out on it. I am doing the same movements with almost the same weight, but the movement feels easy. Like it feels easy. Earlier, when I was doing pronation, so like the wrist was hurting. I need to be careful with the setup, and like it almost looked like the it is going to pull my wrist joint out. And but now it is getting easy. The movement is getting smooth. Hand is looking thicker. I always wondered, like, how do people say like his hand got bigger, his hand got thicker? I'm like, these things cannot change, but I can
Yeah.
feel a change in my hand also.
Oh, they definitely do. And I think the only way to know if your hand is really changing is to either measure it, and then we're talking about like millimeters, or just go to your training partners week by week, and they'll tell you like, oh, your thumb pad is feeling like huge. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, I would say this: we are how many weeks into this? Has this been like three, four
three
weeks?
3 weeks, yeah. 3 weeks.
3 weeks. Okay. So now it's time to up the weights. Like if you haven't been doing it and you're going about like the normal stuff and you're like, okay, now it's feeling good and everything, like let's up the weights, like go hard. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like whatever you're doing, like add 2, 3 kilograms, 5 kilograms, whatever's needed. It's time to up the ante because then you'll see where the progress really is.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean you have to 1 RM or do anything crazy. How about the gripper stuff?
I'm
Any
getting
stronger than that?
getting strong, man. This is the one thing that I would say I'm slightly above average. Like, even if you take me amongst arm wrestlers who are bigger than me, this is something that I can compete with. Like Isa does the stuff with grippers at East versus West. If I'm there, I think like, I can match a lot of arm wrestlers there. Lot of arm wrestlers.
So you're improving there too. Are you just like gripper training or what are you doing?
I like to squeeze grippers whenever I see them. Like I really love that stuff. Really love. Maybe the only reason, because this may be the only thing that I'm good at. Well, not good like high level good, but good for me. So this is the only thing. Like whatever you are good at, you like to do that.
Yeah, that's very true. That's very
Yeah.
true.
I think I can.
But
I think I can close 2.5 COC 2.5.
okay, how you can do it right now?
I don't have a 2.5. I don't have a 2.5. I have a local gripper which is 300 pounds. So
Okay, but you
according to
can close.
that may be like COC 3 or maybe even more than that. And I was able to
Okay.
close that. So I hope even if we take a realistic number, it may be 237.5 pounds, which is the weightage of COC 2.5. I think I can
Okay,
easily do
well,
that.
we'll get you a 2.5. We'll bring it
I have a
over
bet
to
with I have a bet with Ryan. I have never seen Ryan close a 2.5 on screen. He says that he did, but he has never shown, like, someone who has done 15 different gripper videos trying to close the COC 2.5, and somehow when he closed it he didn't film it. He was saying like, I closed it. So we had a bet who can close it before, and he told me that he's going to send me $50 if I close it before. So I think now is the time to order that COC 2.5 and
okay.
get some cash from Ryan.
We'll order. We'll order. We'll take care of that. We'll do it in Turkey. We'll film the video of you closing it when he can't. That'll be good. All right, so let's talk about the AMC tournament. You're
Yeah.
gonna have to fill me in now. I saw the highlights and everything, and I know how like the overalls went and all that good stuff, but I'd like the rundown. So first off, to like anybody who's watching this AMC, Pradeep, I'll let you correct me. But this AMC tournament is something big and special that I think we're not really seeing here in the United States too much. We're not tracking this unless
Yeah.
you're like a hardcore arm wrestling fan. But they are paying out, and correct me if I'm wrong here, I think it's 6,000, 4,000, 2,000, and 1,000, all
1,000.
the way down to fourth place for four weight classes.
Yeah.
Four weight classes.
I think
And then
when I saw one poster, the prize money for the lighter class maybe a little bit less.
whatever. And that's
Yeah.
terrible if it is. But in any case, they're paying out the four weight classes
Yeah.
a very high number, and they're paying out $10,000 to the overall. So you can come and win your class and then win the overall and make $16,000
Yeah.
like Zaur.
Yeah. I just watched the 95 kg class. No, it is the same. 6,000, 4,000, 2,000, 1,000. The prize money is same.
Yeah, I noticed that for 95. I thought maybe
Yeah.
like the 75 was lower, but
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
But still, it is amazing, Paul. Have you ever seen somebody making $32,000 in 3 months from arm wrestling? Zaur Paizulaev did that. 3 months ago, he won 16,000. Now he won 16,000. Thirty-two
So
thousand
I think,
dollars in 3 months.
yeah, I think so that's known quantities right there. So like AMC they're putting people on the podium with their checks saying how much money they're making. They're promoting it on that aspect. Right now in arm wrestling, it's not common knowledge what people are getting paid for their super matches in East versus West or King of the Table. So we can't really say what Devin Larratt and Levan Sagnashvili are making
Yeah.
when they're competing. But AMC is a known quantity. And prior to that, there was no other real opportunity like that where the payouts were known aside from WAL. So in WAL, I think their highest prize money, I forget what year it was $20,000 to first place for every weight class. So you had the opportunity to win $20,000 right arm, $20,000 left arm, or
Okay.
whatever. I think it was maybe less, but close. And
Yeah.
I know it was the same. The one year
Same.
it was the same. You could win $40,000.
Yeah.
And other than that, though, your only opportunity through WAL, I think, was to win like the regional money, which was significantly less. So I mean, right now, what AMC's doing is putting a tournament out that happens every 3 months or four
Yeah.
months,
3 months.
and yeah, and offers the opportunity to win $16,000 to somebody who can win their class and the
Overalls.
overall. That is super special, and we're not talking about that enough.
Yeah. We are right now. We are doing
Yeah,
that.
we
I made 2 or 3 videos I think about that topic, and
yeah,
yeah, I've already made some videos, and the videos are doing good. I think all of them are above 10,000 views. So
yeah.
how good is this guy Zaur Paizulaev? That I want to ask you. Like, I'll tell you something. 2 tournaments. He won 2 tournaments. Won $32,000. Won his weight class in both of them and overalls. And I think overall, counting everything, he'll arm wrestle for less than 10 seconds. He did not require the second hit in any of the matches in these 2 tournaments. Just
Right.
the referee says go and straight to the pad. Single surge
Yeah,
wins.
yeah. Up pressure, back pressure, hand control looks very much on point. So obviously, it begs the question, which we've already, it's already been posed. It's nothing new. This happened like the first AMC tournament. Is this the guy to beat Levan? You know,
Yeah.
so I'll pose it to you. What are his chances based off of what we see, and is he the number one competitor or the number one? Like is he the next up,
Yeah. I,
or is it really Hermes?
In fact, I made a detailed video about that. I said that I think Hermes got lucky to get a shot directly at Levan for 2 reasons, because he was more active, he is more famous, and the second reason was that Russians were banned. If
Yeah,
Russians were not banned, Zaur would
yeah,
also be at East versus West, and then
yep,
Hermes would have to maybe fight it out with him, and then he'll get that match. And one interesting thing, Paul, Zaur called Engin Terzi as soon as he won the tournament, and he said, Engin, I want in. Put me on one of your cards. And Engin was like, I want to, but for now I cannot.
you
And
can't.
after that, Engin said that, he said that, man, So after that, he said, I have one news for you. Like, it is not 100% confirmed, but it is a great news. Engin has mentioned quite a few times that he's trying to get the Russians on the card. He's talking with VAF and he thinks it will happen by April. So I think that was the news, and maybe we will see Zaur in April at on a East versus West card.
Yeah, one thing I know is Engen has definitely been trying to do that because he's hearing everybody's comments and everybody's cries like,
Yeah.
let's get these guys on here. He is relegated to the rules, you know, but he's applying as much pressure as he possibly can to allow the best to compete for sure. Like no one should ever like doubt Engen in that aspect. He wants all of these guys here for sure. So I mean, but again, the question remains: is the
Mm-hmm.
number one contender really Hermes or is it Zaur?
I think it is a good match. Hermes versus Zaur. I would have loved to see that match, but for now, Hermes is going to get that match. And one thing, if we compare Zaur with Levan, and I did make that comparison in the video as well, Zaur is fast. Like you never
Mhm.
see him. I have not seen him go from here to here. Like every single round, he is the one who's acting first after they go,
Right,
and he weighs 170 kilos, and he goes
right.
all out on that top roll, like all out.
Yeah.
Once he takes a
So
wrist, he's hanging that 170 kilos on your arm.
the interesting thing is the matches I've seen with Zaur, I don't see him snapping to any position. Like I don't see like a go and snapping to
Yeah,
anything. So it leads me to believe that it's not necessarily the fact that he's fast,
he's
but that
strong.
he is so dominant in the setup
Yeah.
that the minute the hands close, like, and because you'll see even like the Salayev match, like you see Dimitri fall back into his up pressure and his arm
Hmm.
stretch.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it wasn't that Zaur was reacting quicker; it was that he was just in total control.
Hmm.
I feel like, and that's what makes the Hermes match so interesting because Hermes is so great back pressure, up pressure, hand control, all those things. But we've yet to see Zaur really challenged or slowed down in the past couple of years. I mean, we've seen him have to use a couple second
Yeah.
surges and things in previous
Yeah.
matches. I think.
Previously, I think in 2021 it was he lost to Arif Artem as well. But this
Mhm.
time now it looks like a different beast. Looks like a
Yeah,
different man.
yeah. You know what? It's so crazy too because a lot of arm wrestlers talk about like we can see these matches. Both guys go outside, right? Both guys go up and out, and the one that has 2% more looks
Yeah.
totally dominant
Yeah.
when it's an outside arm wrestle, like when it's an outside
Outside.
movement.
I agree.
So like, it's so hard to judge. Did he gain 2%, 5%? What is it? What is making him look so dominant? But yeah, I really think I would absolutely love to see him pull Hermes.
Hmm.
And my gut, like after watching this last tournament, has Zaur as the favorite.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just a larger man. He definitely has to have a larger hand. Like I don't know it like to be I don't know measurements or anything, but I can't imagine Hermes as like a natural 190, 90 kilogram guy being able to compete with that type of size. But we've seen him do it with Dave. I just think that Zaur has a much more pristine top roll than
Hmm.
Dave. Dave's power, it's dragging, it's whole hand, where Hermes can stay above it. Zaur is going up there too. And when
Yeah.
he goes up there, he looks so dominant, with that top knuckle up. So I would love to see that match. I mean, I guess we'll see Hermes and see how that goes, and
Yeah.
then the question is when the Hermes match happens, let's say Levan wins because everyone has Levan as the favorite. Where does that put Zaur after that match?
That's exactly what I was about to ask you. Like, if and when Levan beats Hermes, which I think is going to happen, where does Zaur go after that? Does he go straight to Levan, or does he fight with Hermes Gasparini? Like, what would your suggestion be for him?
I mean, so to me, the way I look at it, the match between Hermes and Zaur needs to come before the match between
Yeah,
Levan.
but it won't happen.
I know.
Yeah,
So in my opinion, if Hermes does not come out victorious, then to me, the opponent for Zaur is not Hermes.
Yeah.
So the question then is, does Zaur have to prove himself on another stage? Does it have to be East versus West? Does it have to be king of the table? And who does he have to pull? Who's the next number one? Is it Vitali? I mean, I don't know. Is it? I mean,
Last time he
it,
already beat Vitali comfortably.
exactly.
Yeah.
Now, is it a peak form Vitali? We don't know because tournament form Vitali, whatever. Maybe it's different in a super match. So there can be an argument made for that. But I would think, if April rolls around or whatever. So the other point of this is I was looking at some videos and I was listening to some of your stuff about Levan, and you give me the numbers. Correct me right now if I'm wrong. How many times has Levan competed in the past 3 years?
Past 3 years. You're talking after the COVID period or even before that?
No, during whatever.
During
Yeah, during
Dave
after.
Chaffee,
Yeah.
Devon Laird, and
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man. I don't.
Yeah, we're
That's it.
once a year now, and
Yeah.
I love it because he's the man. But here's the thing: he, like you talk about his constant training. Like I watched your video, he never stops training. He's
Yeah. Yeah.
always in good form. But what is he in good form for? Why? Like, let's compete. Like, I mean, this isn't a dig on him because he's the king. So the matches have to make sense. But
Yeah.
in my opinion, there's no reason why Levan couldn't compete against Hermes and then compete against Zaur, 2, 3 months later. Like let's book him up because you know what? It's crazy, and I think about it all the time because I'm 41 years old. Like
Hmm.
I want to compete often, but not too often. But I also don't want to sit my prime out. You know, so like Levan maybe in like peak prime form right now.
Hmm.
Like let's get these matches booked. You know,
I
like I
agree.
get it, we can't book three ahead, but like once one happens, the number one contender should already be waiting in the bullpen. You know,
Yeah.
like let's set them up, let's have them.
Yeah.
You know,
So one more
if
thing
I
that
was,
comes.
I wouldn't want to be sitting out paydays
Yeah,
while I'm in my prime.
that makes sense as well. And Engin mentioned after watching this match in his live stream yesterday, that he thinks that Zaur may be the second guy. Zaur may be the
Yeah.
number two guy, and that's a big statement because we have Hermes as the interim East versus West champion, and Engin is saying that to him it looks like Zaur may be above Hermes Gasparini.
Hmm. Okay, so how about this? Who wins? Zaur, current form. Devin in the form when he faced Levant.
Mm, I don't know, man. I don't know. Like, how can he deal with the king's move? Is his wrist going to crack? 6 rounds, endurance factor. Too difficult to make that comparison. But for sure, it clearly looks like at least a couple of times he's going to take them into the pad straight away. Like, he won't need the second surge. I think that is
The
going to happen.
style, the style too, the
Yeah.
posting top knuckle, like gaining control in the center of the table and being able to surge through. Yeah,
Yeah. I think difficult, man. We are yet to see him in a super match format. He beat
yeah.
Grigory Lyashchuk 6-0 or 5-0, whatever that was, few months ago. I think it was 2 months ago, maybe. He beat him, but Grigory is like maybe around that top 15 range, so he didn't feel
Right,
him at all. But with
right.
Devon, we're not sure. Maybe the match can stop.
We
Difficult to
need
say for
Devin
me.
to stay down in the normal weight classes.
Yeah,
115, Devin.
yeah.
They're poking at him already for these bigger matches. Stay there and be healthy.
Yeah, and be on the top once again.
Mhm.
It makes sense, man. If like, sometimes I wonder, is it a difficult choice for the athletes if you know that number one in the super heavyweight is far away, Levan is away, we cannot achieve that spot that everyone knows, almost every arm wrestler in the world. So should we be the second best guy in the world, or should we be the best guy in 115 kg? That may be a difficult decision for many arm wrestlers.
It's funny, man. It's a funny topic because I've always been, since the beginning of this, in strong understanding of weight class arm wrestling. I've always been monitoring my weight, staying towards, there was never for me any aspirations of climbing weight classes. Like I'll compete at weight classes at different times. And I remember talking to Artem Taranenko, Artem Saprol, And I had met him in 2016 at Nationals. He competed at 154. He smoked everybody. And then we stayed in contact the whole way through. And he started gaining weight and he's posting on his videos, eating all his food. And I'm talking shit to him saying, why are you eating so much food, being fat? And at one point we were talking about weight classes and we did a little podcast. And he said, I want to be the strongest arm wrestler I can be. And weight, I'm not factoring that in. I want to be as strong as I possibly can and beat as many strong people as I possibly can.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, that's great. You know what I mean? But like, where can you be the best? And he pretty much called me out on it and said, like, well, if you're manipulating weight, then that means you're running from people. And I'm like, it's all about the perspective. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? So I respect his perspective in climbing up there. But when I look at like that super heavyweight world, like guys like Devin, I think get coaxed into it because they're 6'5",
Mm-hmm.
and their frame can hold it. For me, I'm like, man, I'm 6 foot. My frame is only going to go so far, and I don't want to, you know what I mean? I don't want to do too much. But I love I can see in Devin the constant struggle of wanting to beat the biggest and the strongest, and
Yeah.
his frame being able to handle it. So it's such an interesting concept. Personally, I'm gonna stick to the weight range arm wrestling because I'm a realist human being.
Makes sense. So, Paul, I would like to ask you one thing about Zaur. What
Okay.
would you advise him if the ban is lifted and he is invited at East versus West 4? What would you tell Engin? Like, if Levan is not available because he arm wrestled Hermes in, let's say, late February, early March, he is not available for the April East versus West event. Who should Zaur face in April?
Man, so first off, the real question is Levon ever even going to compete at East versus West? I'm not sure that pay-per-view format with Engen doing the purest arm wrestling thing and paying people within a normal price range is going to allow for Engen to ever meet Levon's price tag. I don't know Levon's price tag, but I
Mm-hmm.
know the Core Sports is selling a lot of pay-per-views also. They're doing it with a much lower budget in overhead. So I can't even imagine, I could be totally wrong, but I wouldn't think Levan would even be looking at a match with East versus West, but I could be wrong again.
One thing
So
I'd like to interfere. Do you think Levan would charge more than Devon because Engin got Devon on his card?
I think it's right. It's very, very similar because
Okay.
Devon's the bigger draw, but Levan has a huge draw too. Like he has a huge draw. He is the guy. Like I, you don't see too much a contender getting paid more than a champion, even in boxing. Even if the contender has the bigger draw, the championship is still held around the champion. So it's very tough. If anything, it's equal, maybe more. I don't know. But that's a great question. And I would love to know it, but I don't think there's any way for us to even know.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, Zaur, like if I'm Zaur, like coming off of my body of work and my inability to be able to compete at East versus West and competing with everybody else out there that I possibly can, I would want no one other than the absolute best possible opportunity. So whoever, if Hermes is the number two, then I want the number three, you know?
Mm.
Or
Hermes is
I
someone
would
who can compete. Maybe Hermes agrees to have a match if he loses to, like if he loses to Levan in a close match and Engin offers, do you want Zaur a month later at East versus West or let's say 50 days later, whatever the time frame is for. I think
if
Hermes
I'm
can compete.
if I'm Zaur
You will not take
and
that match.
Hermes loses, I'm not arm wrestling Hermes.
Yeah.
I would arm wrestle any bum off the street before I'm not going to arm wrestle the guy that lost to. Because you know who the most dangerous person is? The guy who just lost to the guy
Lost.
you want to compete with.
Yeah.
I'd rather arm wrestle with, you know, pretty much anyone else on the
But
contender
who is
list.
left? Who is left? Give me a name.
Oh, I mean, you could go with Dave Chafee. You could go with
But Hermes
Alex
beat Dave Chaffee.
Rodriguez.
That would be even worse.
But
Hermes beat Dave Chaffee recently, so that would be even worse for Zaur if he loses to Dave.
Well, I mean, if Zaur's better than Hermes and confident in that, then Dave should be an easier outing, in theory. Or, I mean, maybe it's Zaur looking at styles and saying to Engen, I would like a good stylistic matchup. Like if I'm a posting top roller, like if he's a posting top roller, I mean, he should be pretty much licking at it, licking his chops for Dave Chafee. You know, he's a high hand top roller. You know what? The one guy that I wouldn't want to arm wrestle of everyone out there is Corey West. Leave
Mm,
me, get me away from that guy.
yeah.
If I'm Zaur, keep me away from him.
All right. And one more athlete that we want to discuss, I want to discuss, is Alan Zoloev. I think he's still pretty young, 75 kilos, and maybe he's young enough to still compete in the youth category, 21, 22, somewhere in
Is
that
he that
range.
young?
Yeah,
Is
yeah,
he that young?
he's really young, man. And
Mm,
he's already the best in the world. But there was saying that Zoloev may be far ahead of everyone. I did not see that in the Chechnya AMC event because he was getting his wrist cracked, but he was just so relentless. He held him there and then just Todd Hutchings style. He beat
yeah.
everyone. He lost his wrist twice there. So where do you see his level? I think it was against I forgot the Emil. Emil was the name of the other
Mm.
guy who was giving him a good fight. But
Man, so if you can win a tournament after getting your wrist taken multiple times, that shows that you have some special side pressure. So, like, some of that may be genetic, a lot of it may be training, but at the end of the day, this here is easier to train, in my opinion, than this here. So, like, it is easier on the body to train this. So,
mm,
if this is a weak point for Alon Zoloev, then this can be like fixed really, really quickly.
yeah.
This right here, God gives you a lot of that, and He gives you a lot of the structure to be able to do that in your shoulder and your elbow. So I'll tell you what, whether you want to call it dominant or not, I like if he's as young as you say he is, like the structure behind his ability is super super impressive.
Yeah.
Because I watched the highlights from that too.
Yeah. When he won in 2021, he beat everyone. And Arthur Makarov, he beat him. Arthur in a hook. Arthur is like he almost has
Yeah,
those mutant super heavyweight
yeah,
arms. He beat him in a
yeah.
hook. And Yanis Omolic. Yanis is not in his peak form. Maybe he's slightly like not so good compared to his prime. But when Yanis arm wrestled Allen was like just like
Yeah.
it didn't even feel Giannis Samolis at all. And we've seen how good Giannis is. Like
Yeah.
if he goes up against someone like Jeff Hale from USA, and that
Yeah.
guy doesn't even feel. So I think
Yeah.
he's that young. If he's older than that, I'll mention it in the comments when once the video is uploaded. But that kid is
Well,
good. Not
yeah,
as good as I expected him to be in that tournament, but still good.
yeah. I mean, I'll tell you what, it's tough. Like if you're an inside puller and everybody knows you're an inside puller and you're competing with the world's best and they're trying to keep you out of your lane, like you have to be so dominant, to be able to force that supination and cup on everyone. So to me, an inside puller losing his wrist and still winning is almost more impressive, which is part of the thing that gravitates me towards a guy like Todd Hutchings, who will just let the strap set where it may and just go boom, because that's the answer to everything. If you can't force cup and supination and you can still win in a tournament format, to me that makes it almost more dominant.
So I think that's about it for this tournaments discussion. It was awesome. Maybe somebody tries to copy that format or try to contact them and find some sponsors just like them. By the way, I'm going to interview Zaur Paizulaev on my channel by the end of this
Yeah.
month. And today, on 27th, Zaur is going to have a practice session with guess who? Guess who?
Who?
Denis
Levan.
Saplankov.
Ah, oh, and you know what? When we talk about all these contenders and everything else, somehow like
We forgot
in
Denis.
my head, I've even mentioned like
Yeah,
Dennis. You know what
yeah,
I mean?
forgot.
I guess because I'm still not sold on Dennis's reemergence after
Mm,
like nothing. So like for me, I'm still hung up on like Hermes
yeah.
and like the more recent people. But you know what? That in itself right there could be the East versus West match.
Zaur versus
That
Dennis.
could be it.
Yeah.
Don't pull him, Howard. Don't put it on camera. Go find out what you need to find out, and then call Angan. Put it on East versus West.
Yeah. Show the footage to Angin.
Yeah, yeah. You know what? And this AMC tournament, I wish I knew more about it. Like as far as who's producing it, like we need to like we should hear more about this in the West.
Yeah.
Like where's this money coming from? And like let's like I don't think many people from the West tuned into that at all, or are really even looking at the videos when we should be. Like there should be like a light shined on these tournaments, and there also should be like, I don't know if it's open to everybody, but if this is in Chechnya and the top prize is $6,000 and it costs $2,000 to fly over there, you might be able to get some Western pullers too. If they
Yeah.
know they're going to get paid down to fourth place, like, man,
It's
like
open.
let's,
It's open. Open tournament.
yeah, we should broaden this reach a little bit, like social media, like everybody, guys, like let's share this stuff out. Cause I didn't even really know it was happening until like a week ago. It's crazy. Not that
Yeah.
I'm going to go over there. Not that I'm going to just say, all right, no more Christmas. We'll go over there and do that. But man, I mean, the opportunities are out there.
Yeah.
Like people were like, well, there's no opportunities. There's nothing since WAL and PAL. Well, there is, but we're just not talking about it. It's our job to
Mhm.
spread that news.
Then the question can be: Is Devon going to go there to compete? Because Devon's argument was always that WL was paying $20,000. Why didn't the Europeans come here? I was wherever the highest prize money was. Now in tournament format, the highest prize money is over there in Chechnya. So is Devon going to
That's
go
a
there?
very valid point, man. Very, very valid. And you know what? If there's weight classes, why not? Now, I would say that it would maybe be a little bit more beneficial to have that 115
Yeah,
or the 110 or whatever, 105,
105.
to maybe like entice in this new crop of like intermediate weight arm wrestlers. 95 and up is tricky, but like, I mean, think about the guys that you could get. You could get Prudnick, you could get Devin, you could get Michael Todd, now falls in that range. You could get Kittergali Angarbayev, like there, Todd Hutchings. You could get like a weirdo class at like
Yeah.
between 110 and 105 or
Hmm.
115 and 105. That could be like super interesting. And if you add like, when I look at, like, if I'm looking from a business perspective, like AMC, I don't, like, again, I don't know what the promotion, where their targets are, but it's got to be nice to have some of these guys with the social media presence, that are going to create YouTube views, and whoever your sponsors are, they're probably banking on that that viewership and that like ambiance that comes around with it. And if those views go up, then the sponsors have more of a stake in it. So like, let's do it. Let's globalize all of this.
Yeah. Hopefully it is the way, because Engin has also started doing tournaments. He will start doing tournaments, qualifiers for East versus West and the Chase event. The tournament format is coming back, which is good. The
I
super match format is not diminishing. It is going up, and tournament format is also slowly catching up, which can only
That's
mean
what
good
we
things.
need. That is really what we need, because the tournament format is really the proving grounds, the opportunity, and it's the most fun arm wrestling.
Yep.
I mean, it's not the most viewer friendly, but as far as an arm wrestler goes, I don't like, from an arm wrestler's perspective. There's not much out there that's more like anxiety driven, and like the hype around a tournament, and then figuring out your draw, and then like dealing with a loss. Like that's the beauty of the sport. I miss that a lot.
Yeah.
So if we can have a resurgence in that would be amazing. But I've said forever, it's like, in the United States, it's like, if there isn't a tournament that makes sense for me to cut weight for and fly for, then I'm not going to do it if the other opportunities are out there. But if there's going to be a reemergence of great tournament arm wrestling, like something like AMC or WAL, I think we're going to see the best cutting weight and
Yeah.
traveling, and that'll bring us back to that purest arm wrestling thing. You
the
know,
the the argument that Artem the argument that Artem was making, that if you are cutting weight, you're running away from people, that only may hold true for very small sports, because in major sports, even the biggest athlete that is going to get paid millions and millions of dollars, he is going to cut weight. Everyone cuts weight in bigger sports.
Right. I mean, UFC, boxing. The reality is you find your sweet spot. You do that as a professional. You find out where you have the best opportunity to win, and then you control your own destiny in lifestyle and discipline, and then weight manipulation. That's why we see MMA fighters come down 16, 17% of their body weight. That's why they do it, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And it is what it is. I mean, if you want to be a professional, I feel like that's part of the process.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm not. Y'all, we also got to be real with ourselves too. Like, where is my frame going to take me? And I think that's a tricky part for new arm wrestlers. Because when I started, right when I started, like I was like, because I like in my head, I'm like professional athlete mind state, and I'm like, okay, amateur tournament, I'm gonna cut 10 pounds. Why? In hindsight, never again. Why was I in a hot bathtub to compete at some casino where there was 6 people in the weight class to win? And then I pulled pro too, like a dum dum, and I cut weight for like an amateur class and pulled pro and did whatever stupid. But
Yeah.
when you get to a point, I think that weight manipulation is part of the professionalism involved in the sport.
Yeah. Thank you, Paul, for inviting me. And guys, please subscribe to both of the channels, Paul Linn's
Yeah.
channel and Arm Wrestling News. We will provide you great content, and we'll okay. We'll talk about this after that. I want to talk about something, but after we end it. So thanks, brother, guys.
All right, I'll close us out. Hey guys, thank you again for tuning in. Thank you for bearing with my nonsense. Luckily, I have my technical director, Pradeep, here with me. Please go over to Arm Wrestling News on YouTube. Check out all of his videos. They come out constantly. So make sure you hit the button for notifications. If I didn't do that, I wouldn't know what's going on. And if you feel it in your heart that it might be something you want to do, go ahead and subscribe to this mess along with that.
Yeah.
Thank you again for joining us, and have a blessed holiday. Merry Christmas if we didn't talk to you, and Happy New Year coming up.
Thanks, bro.